knows the drop
Nice
is there.
second.
Zekin answers with one.
Nice
They're looking
bang.
to take the round.
Nice
Only 2 kills away.
assist.
One more.
Nice.
It's just gonna be it. Bang
Yes.
gets the kill. That's 13 for
Sentinels and MIBR have qualified for Masters Toronto. El Diablo is back, and G2 are barely hanging on now in playoffs. With one spot still up for grabs, the road to Valorant's next international event is starting to seriously heat up. So let's get into it. Alright, so the opening round of playoffs at VCT Americas went pretty much as expected. Aspas and MIBR dominated 100 Thieves, and Sentinels managed to get things done against Cloud9 with back-to-back 13-9 victories. But before we could see whether or not those two winners had what it takes to qualify for Toronto, we first saw some real do-or-die matchups. If you're an NIG or Cloud9 fan, then you might want to cover your ears. For NRG, there was a lot on the line. FNS has already talked about how this will likely be his last year competing, and that he really wants to take his team to another international event. But it's no secret that NRG have struggled this year, and their lower bracket match against 100 Thieves was no different. They got stomped on map 1 and failed to close things out on map 2, exiting playoffs in last place. Now, to be fair, Xander put on the game of his life against them. This dude answered all of his haters and finally looked like the sore Xander that real ones remember. But for NRG, it's tough to see a world where they'll suddenly become a top team in Americas. So is FNS's time running out? I've already seen people like Tarek suggesting that his looming retirement could be impacting his team's performance. We spoke to Som about exactly this earlier in the season.
I see a lot of people saying like the team atmosphere is just weird because you just know your IGL is retiring. But honestly, it's like the complete opposite for our team. Like literally everyone on the team. Okay, the way we see it is that at the end of every year, there's roster changes, whether you like it or not. Most teams, if not all teams, will make roster changes because that's just how esports is. For us, it's like our captain, our IGL is retiring after this year. So let's have an insane year.
Alongside NRG, Cloud9 were also eliminated from playoffs in joint last place at the hands of Potters EG. Ye put on a vintage El Diablo display, topping the server in frags.
Break some of those trips. None of them here, though.
Oxy will try to follow the drone, but will only waltz his way into Ye's crosshair. 2 kills found, make that 3 for El Diablo as he's got 4. Coming to life right off the bat. And the ace delivered.
For EG, this was the perfect start to their playoff run, but for Cloud9, their playoff curse continues. Excluding lock-in, Cloud9 haven't been to an international event since Champions 2021. Their roster has changed a lot since then, but they've continued to impress in basically every single group stage, only to choke in playoffs. It feels like it's becoming pretty hard to deny that there's some sort of curse in play here, but we spoke to their head coach Imi after their loss to Sentinels, and at the time, he still denied the curse. He said that Cloud9 have just had some tough roads in every playoffs bracket, often losing to the teams that go on to qualify for every event.
But fortunately for us, there is a lower bracket, so hey, if we lose tomorrow, then maybe it's true, but for now it's still a myth.
Sorry, Imi, the curse might actually be real. After Cloud9 and NRG got eliminated, on Saturday we were finally treated to the first Americas qualifying match for Masters Toronto. One of them was pretty one-sided, but the other one turned out to be an absolute banger. MIBR breezed past Crew with yet another dominant victory where their entire squad looked insane. Everyone on this roster is capable of popping off in any given match, and I'm sure MIBR will represent the region well as the first team qualified to Toronto. This is the first time that MIBR has qualified for an international event, so props to them for such an insane turnaround from last year especially. But we need to talk about the other qualifying match between G2 and Sentinels now, because it was a f***ing barn burner. Most people had G2 winning this one, and our very own Liz was actually the only member of the VCT America's talent who predicted Sentinels.
I believe in the 6-man of Sen City. I believe in Zekin diffing G2. I believe in John Cutie calling just as well as Valen, which is great. I believe in that team in general. Bang's on a heater. I just think it's a bunch of compounding factors.
And Liz was right. Despite getting smacked around on map 1, Sentinels bounced back to take Icebox, sending the series to Ascent, where they took a commanding 11-2 lead. G2 decided to scare the shit out of every single Sentinels fan by winning 9 straight rounds, but in the end, they just couldn't overcome the deficit.
And now he knows the drop is there. Zekin answers with 1. They're looking to take the round. Only 2 kills away. 1 more. It's just gonna be it. Bang gets the the kill. That's 13 for Sen. The glow up from the young team. And Sen City is headed to Masters Toronto.
Despite bombing out of Masters Bangkok, Sentinels have looked better and better throughout Stage 1, and they're finally finding their footing at the best possible time. But for G2, things are getting kind of scary now. Their loss to Sen put them in the lower bracket against 100 Thieves, who pushed them to the brink. This time, G2 had to overcome an 11-6 deficit to push things to overtime, but they finally managed to squeeze out the victory, eliminating 100 Thieves from playoffs. Definitely a tough loss for 100 Thieves considering the lead that they had, and I'm sure EU will have nightmares about that Vice ult, but G2's resilience got them over the finish line. G2 are still alive in this bracket, but they don't look like the overwhelming favourites that they were heading into playoffs. Not to mention that their next opponents, Evil Geniuses, are on a bit of a heater. Icy and Ye continue to look incredible in their win against Crew.
He's gonna get punished, Doug. At least he should be. What is this? No way! Using it like a shotgun!
There's a serious chance here that G2 could miss out on the final spot in Toronto after finishing second in Bangkok. That would be an enormous disappointment for the org, but perhaps not that surprising when you look at the other regions. Other favourites like EDG, Vitality, and even the defending Masters champions T1 all find themselves in the lower bracket of their respective regions. The road to Masters Toronto has been an absolute bloodbath so far, but it's only going to get even more competitive from here.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.